Welcome, everyone. This is The Real Story, and my name is Daniel Hapney. I have a fantastic show tonight. It's called The Appleseed Show. I'm going to introduce you, the viewers, to the Appleseed Project. I actually went and participated for 2 days. Not only did I learn a lot of American history, specifically Revolutionary wartime history, okay, but also got to improve my rifle marksmanship skills. And let's start off with, let's show you this really nice shirt I got here, okay? Here you have a shirt by, this is the Revolutionary War Veterans Association. That's who puts on the Appleseed Project, okay? Great shirt, isn't it? Fantastic, okay? Because it ties together the importance and that which was needed and required to give us a free republic. If you remember, we had tyranny. We had an oppressor, in this case, a king in a foreign country. Whether he's a king in your own backyard, it doesn't matter, but we had oppression. And what we did was we actually threw off that oppression, and it took, what does the Tree of Liberty need? It needs, I guess, to be watered from time to time with the blood of tyrants and patriots. I think that was Jefferson who gave us that. But what's important about the Appleseed Project is they not only teach you the history of why and how and who was involved and what went on, they also give you the skills and training that were required, because if you remember in the intro of the show, you remember the statue at the Old North Bridge of one of the first patriots leaving his plow, stopping farming, okay, leaving his plow, taking his rifle, because he's going to fight for his descendants' freedom. You also saw, the Minuteman who's up on the statue at Lexington Green, who once again stopped what he was doing to what? To fight for your freedom. And of course, for his descendants' freedom. And then you have in front of the Sharon Public Library in Sharon, Massachusetts, yes, we have Deborah Sampson, a woman who stopped what she was doing to fight tyranny so that her descendants could have freedom. And in Deborah's case, they didn't even know she was a woman until she got wounded. And it took years and years later for her to even get a pension for being wounded in the war. And it was through her correspondence with, in this case, Paul Revere and also the U.S. Congress. But let's get back to Appleseed. What a fantastic thing. I had found out about Appleseed the way you could find out about Appleseed, by listening to the Alex Jones program. You could become an info warrior and help fight to keep a free republic. But more importantly is, I had listened to an interview on the Alex Jones show, and it was the people who put on Appleseed. And I learned a little bit, and I said, well, Jez, that's pretty intriguing. I wonder what it's going to be like. I wonder what it's like. I could always use better marksmanship skills, okay? Because it's something that people should know. It's a lost art that we used to have, because people think you don't have to fight for freedom because you have a constitution, in this case a piece of paper. It's up to you to exercise your rights. It's up to you to maintain your rights. A piece of paper does not do that for you. For you married in the audience, a marriage license doesn't make you married, okay? It's what you do that keeps you married or makes you married. But in the case of the Appleseed Project, it was very intense training for 2 days, and with it was education. Once again, education on what it was like and what it was like for the people who actually fought the revolution and what they needed, not only the skills, but what they had to go through. Things like Paul Revere's ride, what actually happened at Lexington Green, what happened at the North Bridge, how they drove the British all the way back to Boston. We could get into Ticonderoga and bringing the cannons down and all that, but once again, here they tied together not only the skills training, which we're going to go over with you and show you, but also the history of the people who, once again, they pledged their sacred honors. They put it on the line. They didn't sit back on the couch and cheer for the patriots. They were patriots. And so, what we have for you once again is this is the Appleseed Show. It's very good. We're going to start off with let's just go once again a little bit about, our history. Like I say, even here in Sharon, we have a bronze statue of an American patriot. Her name was Deborah Sampson. Okay? And it was the skills of the rifleman. Something that's not pushed anymore. When I say pushed, it's not even told. Unless you go and you join the service and stuff, you're not going to learn this skill set. And it's probably one of the most important skill sets you have, because when it comes to getting rid of tyranny, it's usually the rifleman and the patriot who provide you this freedom. Now remember, we have what? We have those wonderful Bill of Rights. I'm exercising my first one. That's freedom of speech right now. You should exercise it every day. The right to assemble. Get together with your friends. Okay? The freedom of religion. Go practice whatever religion you want. Exercise those rights. It's when you exercise them, kind of like muscles, if you want them to be strong. Well, in the case of the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. and a well-regulated militia. That means a well-trained group. And a militia doesn't mean your National Guard. Militia wasn't the army. Militias were community-based, very small, actually. You know, learned a lot anyway. This is good for you to learn. Now, the first thing I'm probably going to cover for you so you understand some of them, and we'll even use some old military training that they offered in 1943, and also what we received, you know, at Appleseed. Here's some stuff on positions. Tell me if this isn't fantastic stuff. Archive it, save it, because in the future, you may need it.
Okay, we've got a number of things here. Starting at the front, we have the left hand open and cradling the fore end of the rifle. Okay? We have the rifle cradled in the web of the thumb and on the bones of the palm. We have the sling set to where there's just a little bit of tension on here. So that if we needed to, we could adjust the tension by just moving the hand forward or back just a little bit. Okay? We're going to keep our shoulders and our left elbow in the line, pointed directly at the target. We're going to stand with our left foot pointing 90 degrees from the target, just like that. We have the buttstock in the pocket of the shoulder. What you're going to want to do is I want you to stick your head up for a minute and look at me. You're going to take your neck and crane it forward. This is called a turkey neck. We're going to put our neck forward and then anchor it down on the stock and get a good cheek weld. We do the turkey neck so that we can get the head to follow the stock all the way forward. That way the head will move back with the rifle in recoil. Not so much so with a 22, but you start getting into your centerfires and then there will be some recoil. We want to keep that left elbow as close to the body as we can. And if you can cant your hip up just a little bit, that would be fine. Okay, just like that, just like that. Okay. Now, you'll notice that when you breathe in and you breathe out, and if you have everything lined up correctly, you'll notice the muzzle rise and fall as the shooter breathes. You can go ahead and you can exaggerate that a little bit. Okay, and if you have everything slung up correctly, you can take your right hand off of the rifle and everything will stay in place. And as you're breathing, everything will rise and fall in cadence with your breathing. Okay, go ahead and take hold of the rifle again. You want to change your elevation here. Yeah. What you can do is, if you have a target that's further out, go ahead and move your left foot back a little bit.
To get up, or?
Okay, you move your foot forward, that will drop your muzzle. You move your foot to the rear, that will raise the muzzle. This is what we call the rifleman's dance. You move your natural point of aim side to side by keeping your anchor point, your forward foot, firmly on the ground, and move your right foot either forward, either left or right in relation to the firing line. And then that will shift the muzzle from side to side. Where in prone, we shifted our hips. In offhand, we shift our foot. You do the rifleman's dance, you can follow that target wherever it goes. And then we just remember all our steps, the respiratory pause, the squeeze, and the follow through. You take that mental snapshot and call where the round impacts. And that's offhand.
If I may just add a single thing. There's a couple variables here, and one is the elbow. One thing that'll make you, so we want to go after what's most stable for you here. And one Appleseed trick here is to lift your elbow up in a chicken wing. And when I talked about it before, how to find your shoulder pocket or make it bigger or smaller, is to lift your arm. When you're standing, you need as much shoulder pocket as you can. So if you lift your elbow up in a chicken wing, that'll make it nice and big. You get even more cradle in there. Another thing is that in standing, instead of thinking about lowering your head to the rifle, standing you have the luxury of lifting the rifle a little bit towards your head to try and keep your head straight up and down. And one other thing is the amount of lean. Dennis talked about putting your elbow back and in and jutting your hips out. That's one way to do it. The other way is to simply stand as naturally as possible and kind of even on both legs horse stance, and to kind of just a natural stance instead of a more jutted stance. One might work better for you than another. The Appleseed, the official Appleseed one is more of the natural stance, but I use the one that Dennis talked about. So.